Well, knowing a little something about the book of Revelation and being a big studier about end times prophecy, and as a pastor, I often get asked about the end of the world and what will it be like. A lot of people want to talk about the signs of the end and the wonders of the end. What I find very interesting is well, we got to ask the question, what will the end of the world be like? And a lot of times we ask that because we want to know when it's going to happen. But as you read the Bible, you realize that Jesus said nobody knows the day or the hour of the coming of the Son of Man. Nobody knows. Not even Jesus knows, much less the angels. Only the Father knows when that time is going to be. So trying to figure it out is almost like trying to put words in God's mouth. We've got to be really careful about that. But Jesus said at the times of the end there would be signs of His coming. And the signs, we would say, oh, we want to look for things like blood moons. Because why? We want to know when Jesus is coming back. And I think that doing that sort of thing can be very dangerous. We've got to be careful about that because it's almost like astrology when you're looking at those type of signs. Now, I know there's going to be signs and wonders in the heavens, but the actual signs of the end, the first one we know. Jesus made it abundantly clear, the Bible makes it abundantly clear, that Israel will be regathered as a nation on its own land by God's covenant. And here we are standing in Israel, and it's happened. May 1948, back they come. Fulfillment of prophecy. And if you'd like to read up on that, read Ezekiel chapter 37. It's a mind blower. But also, over in Matthew chapter 24, Jesus, when he's speaking to his disciples, tells them that, well, let me read this to you real quick. He says, now learn the parable from the fig tree. When its branch has already become tender, that's Israel, it's coming back to life, and puts forth leaves, you know that summer is near. It's going to be the season of the second coming, or the coming of the Messiah. So you also, he said, when you see all these things, know that it is near, right at the doors. The end is coming. Assuredly, I say to you, now here's where we get a little mixed up, and I want to clarify this because it's mind-blowing. This generation will by no means pass away until all these things take place. Okay, this generation. So we start measuring generations in our mathematical Western minds and we wonder, what's a generation? How long is a generation? Well, a generation is going to last, what, 20 years, 40 years, 60 years? Well, it's been well over 60 years since Israel became a nation. So how long is a generation? Well, I'm going to turn in my Bible here that my brother Michael here is holding for me. And as I turn into Bible, I'm actually going to go over to 2 Timothy chapter 3. Because Paul gave us the definitive description of what life was going to be like at the coming of the Son of Man. The way it was going to be before Jesus comes. But he doesn't talk about things falling out of heaven or blood moons or anything else. What he does say is this. He says, but know this, that in the last days perilous times will come. Okay, the last days. Perilous times. Ooh, what's that going to be? For men will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, unloving, unforgiving, slanderers, without self-control, brutal, despisers of good, traitors, headstrong, haughty, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of good, having a form of godliness but denying its power. That's the way it will be before Jesus returns. When Jesus talks about a generation, he's not talking about a number of years. He's talking about the quality of the character of the people at that time, which is why Jesus followed up his statement about this generation will not pass until all these things come to pass, come true. He mentions, as it was in the days of Noah, so will it be in the days of the coming of the Son of Man. And he was talking about the character of that generation. How long is this generation going to last? Well, he didn't say. What he did say is the character, the moral, spiritual, ethical character of that generation is as Paul described there in 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1 all the way down through verse 5. And you can read it yourself. What does that tell us? I think we're in that generation. As I read that, the world is spinning out of control, circling the drain, as it were, heading in that direction. An immoral generation. An evil generation that once you let that genie out of the bottle, how will you ever get it back in? Well, it's very simple. The Messiah needs to come back. Jesus will return. and he will put an end to that generation the way he intends to. So here we are in Jerusalem, ground zero, planet Earth, the place where Jesus is going to return someday. Look on that hill way in the distance behind me. When he comes back, he's going to land there. When he comes up, he's going to go up onto the Temple Mount, which is right behind me. And you can see the Western Wall where the Jews pray, the holiest place in all the world for the Jewish people, except on top of the Temple Mount, where they don't dare go because they don't accidentally want to step on the Holy of Holies. This is a magnificent place. This is where it will all come to pass. Jesus is coming here. And when you look at the generation, you say, oh my, it's gotta be soon. When? He didn't say. But he did say one thing 10 times. Be ready. 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 I think you better be ready. God bless you.